Okay, so I have a PowerPoint, so we'll just begin the PowerPoint. And I guess my hope for you is that you can just be open to some of the information that you get within yourselves, meaning the information about your feelings, the emotions that maybe stimulate some body sensations, your perceptions, your beliefs, your yearning. So always sort of keeping your fingers on your own pulse of what's happening for you internally. And we'll begin. So Satir's famous statement is peace within, peace among, peace between. And here's a picture of her when she was young. So just looking at her, like as she is like in full aliveness when she was younger, and then as she was at the toward the end of her life on this planet. Vibrance. So she's a vibrant. So the first thing is like money is energy. So it has to flow. It flows like water. It flows in and it flows out. If it doesn't flow, we try to hold on to it. It tends to get stagnant, just like a pond where there's not any way for the water to flow out of the pond. And we also know that energy must flow like water. So when energy is trapped, it tends to cause dis-ease. And we know that money is energy that passes between and among us, sort of like peace between within and among and between. So money has to flow between us. That was the sole purpose of having money, is to, I'll give you this and you'll give me something in back. So there has to be this flow. And you can't own energy, although, people on this planet are trying to own energy, but it's the resource that is able to make the energy. And we don't want to treat it as a thing or a possession. So people can get kind of caught up in like, this is all mine. But that holding on creates stagnancy, and it inhibits flow. So water and money must flow in and out, back and forth, same as money. So there's a reciprocity with money. And so two purposes. So I just wanted to show this picture of the iceberg and show like the soul. The soul, another word for soul in the Satir model, is self. So we have the self and the soul. And we know that our life energy is exchanged for money. And so what I mean with that is like, however I happen to have money, I somehow exchange that for my beingness, who I am. So even when I inherited some money from my father and mother when they passed, that was their life energy exchanged for money. So their life energy brought that money to them, and then they gave that to me. So when you go buy something, how you have money is because of your life energy, because of your soul. And so we exchange it. And so we often make decisions like, do I want to spend this much money? And I want to look at like, how did my life energy bring this money to me? And is it an even exchange? So we are always making decisions about money and energy, how we want to spend our money and how we are spending our energy, our life force energy. So I want to just we're going to do a little bit different today. So I'm going to have you go into trios just for a little while and check in with each other and sort of how much energy do you have? So it's sort of a funny question, isn't it? What brings you energy? What body sensations do you experience when you're energized? Who and what brings you energy and why? Why is not a great question, but like, how do these things bring you energy? So who do you energize? So when you're with somebody and you have a sense that you energize them, they experience being energized when they're around you. And then how do you know? And then looking at what depletes your energy and what the body sensations are when you're depleted, or you're noticing you're becoming depleted. And what energy is stimulated when you think about money? What happens in your body? What energy? Every emotion has energy, thoughts have energy, beliefs have energy. So, what and yearnings have energy. So, what energies get stimulated when you think about money? And what energy is stimulated when you hold money? So, when you're holding money in your hand, what do you notice being stimulated? What energy is stimulated when you have money, when you know, oh, I have all this money in the bank and I just did my taxes this last week and now I have way less money in the bank. So it's like how, like what energy was stimulated when I found out, well, wow, this is the amount I'm going to be paying. And what was the energy? What got stimulated? And what energy is stimulated when you spend money? So there's these questions. You're not going to be able to answer all of them, but just pick out a few that with your trio. But first, with what brings you energy? What energy is stimulated when you think about money? Okay, so we'll just give you 10. Okay, it's always hopeful when people come back with smiles on their faces.
It's quite lovely, actually.
Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to move on because you've had a chance to sort of connect and start stimulating some of your maybe unconscious thoughts and beliefs about money and energy. This little thing is getting in my way. So we want to look at what yearnings are activated, what yearnings are met, and infinite resources are activated. So you'll see this iceberg down at the very tip of it is the yearnings. When we have our yearnings met, we know that bridges us, I guess you could say, bridges us to our soul life force energy. And we know that when yearnings are met, so whether that's one yearning, two yearnings, all of our yearnings, when we are experiencing our yearning, that we are in self, our self is being manifested, it flows like a river through us, and all of these like infinite resources are very, very available to us. So my creativity, my curiosity, my patience, generosity, kindness, courage. And when we are in self, what I said, when we're soul connected, then we also know that we also are accessing universal wisdom with infinite possibilities. So sort of like we're greater than just Linda, like I am tapped into universal wisdom and infinite possibilities. So that place is just vibrant energy, vibrant aliveness. And if you remember what Satir said this morning about, she knows that the universe, she's in tune with the universe. So that other, I guess, knowing, so this thing about money is that sometimes we have these beliefs that if you look at the iceberg, beliefs are way up the iceberg. A knowing is from a place of self, is from a place of soul. So when you know that the universe is infinitely abundant and you are the universe, that means that you are infinitely abundant. So we want to sort of look at I'll just show another slide and show you what we're going to look at. So we want to look at what are my inner resources and qualities that I have. What are your inner resources that you readily tap into, even when you're maybe not fully in self, versus what are your inner resources and qualities that you have that come to you, that become embodied with you when you are intentionally manifesting and connecting with yourself. So the other thing that we do sort of with the Satir model is we look at how we intentionally create moments, present moments of being in self. So I popped this in. This is Jennifer's slide. I wanted to change you're not your role, but I wanted to say you're not your bank balance or you're not how much money you have. So when we're in this place of I amness, this soul energy, there is this loving, compassionate, caring, creative, patient, fun, assertive, caring, wise. And you're not any of those roles that like, but in those roles, oftentimes that's where we begin to, I would say, share ourself and our life force energy. And that life force energy, often in those roles, then bring money to us. So remember that exchange. So as a therapist, as a trainer, I'm exchanging my life energy for when I'm training and as a therapist. So I read this book by Norman Vincent Peale years and years ago, The Power of Positive Thinking. And there was one little thing in there that stood out and has really guided my life. And that was that I want to have enough money that I don't have to worry about money. Because when I worry about money, I am sort of kinking the flow of my life energy. Like Satir said, it's like, I don't want to worry. I want to know that all is well, that I will have enough. Because when I'm worrying about money, it is taking me away from what my purpose here, my mission here in this lifetime is. So I consciously create moments of I amness for me because I want to be in my own flow. And then I'm not worrying about money. I don't want to worry about money. I want money to come to me. I unexpectedly got a check in the mail yesterday. It was like, "Ooh, this looks like a check. Wonder what this is for." It's like, and it's like that sort of like I've been in this money energy because I've been doing this PowerPoint. So it's like, oh, there it is, just another little reminder of being in the I amness. So we look at our beliefs and perceptions around money. It's something we trade our life energy for. And I would say trade it. It's not like I give all of it because when I give it, it creates more life energy. It's not like, here's my life energy, give me your money. It's like I am like sharing my life energy with you in this moment. And my life energy is flowing and I am feeling I feel it in my body. And I also know that some of what's coming to me is coming from the universe versus that it's all just me and my right and left brain and my heart. So what does money equals life energy mean to you? What does it mean to you? We'll go back into your trios to do some of the sharing here. And what did you learn about money when you were a child? So we learn without even knowing that we're learning. And one of Satir's other sayings that she would say is like, our whole lives, we're learning what we learned before the age of 4. So even before the age of 4, up into your teenage years, as you hear things over and over and over again, there's sort of a learning and we can take on these beliefs and these, I guess, when we want to bring the unconscious into our conscious about what you learned about money. What are your beliefs about money? And what were your parents' beliefs about money? So my mom and my dad had very kind of different beliefs and who was in charge of the money, who made the money, and what were some of the sayings around money that has guided my life until I read that book and was like, wow, there's a whole nother way here that helps me. And then you can describe your relationship with money now and maybe share what you would like your relationship with money to be. But for now, I'm going to just share a little bit about like these family rules. And so family rules are expectations. They're a form of an expectation. They are a form of a belief, sort of a rule. So I would just say, what are 3 of your family rules about money? So never talk about money, always ask permission to spend money, don't waste money, always work hard for money to get money. And then with these family rules, we look at what was the purpose of the family rule, because there's usually a very positive intention behind the rule that tends to become sort of rigid inside of us. And then if you're not going to have a chance to do those other questions, but really it's like look at what are some of your family rules, your family of origin family rules around money, and maybe what some of your present day family rules are around money and what they're guided by. Are they guided by your parents' beliefs? Are they guided by something new that's come to you, sort of the way I am? Once I read that one little piece of work by Norman Vincent Peale. So we know that when we change these impacts of family rules, and really we could say even changing the impact of a belief that is no longer serving us, that we know that our self-esteem is increased. So, and self-esteem is like the way in the Satir world, I think the way we sort of think about it is that it's how we experience ourselves. And if you look up self-esteem, it talks about how we judge ourselves. But really, it's like we would like to sort of say how you experience yourself in a positive way is increased. So, and that's because how you're using money in a way that serves you in order to do what you came here to do, whether it's just to hold frequency, whether it's to help others. And it's researched that people that have higher self-esteem are in service to others, but not at the expense of themselves. And so also we know that when we're taking responsibility for our inner experience and behavior, that changes when we change a rule. We begin to be more responsible. And when we become more responsible for ourselves, we know that we tend to feel better about ourselves. When we feel better about ourselves, we're in life energy. When we're in life energy, that flow of money in and out come to us. We also know that when you change family rules, the people tend to make better choices because one, you have freedom, and freedom is a yearning. And remember, when I'm experiencing a yearning, then it also is helping me be connected and manifesting my life energy, and there's more flow. So if you experience yourself like in a state of love or in a state of joy or experiencing freedom, then it's like there's this flow, like that river flowing, it starts to flow. And when you're going to make better choices from that place. And also we know that when we change family rules, that we become more congruent and more in charge of ourselves. So when I say more congruent, Satir initially, in her model, it was a communication model, and her big goal was to help people communicate what was happening for them inside. And I think that's what these meetings have been about, is to really help people have a sort of a arena or a community or a circle to maybe share with other people about what happens for you. Because sometimes we haven't created a lot of places where we can really be congruent about what happens for us inside and still feel accepted and still feel worthy, and really be in this place of being more. So we want to help people become more congruent, be able to know, first of all, know what's happening for me. Like, what am I experiencing right now? And for me to be able to maybe share that with you, but at least for me to know myself, what's happening inside. And she would say, you heard her say that when I read the thing this morning, she wanted it to be straight. Straight meant that like the inside and the outside matched. So if I was angry on the inside, but had a smile on the outside. I was doing some work with a class yesterday, and I said something about I appreciated them because they all seemed to be very patient. And one woman said, I may have seemed to be patient on the outside, but on the inside, I was really annoyed. So like being congruent is that that it's sort of like at least she knew she was annoyed. And yeah, on the outside, maybe she looked patient, but Satir really wanted to help us at least know what was happening and be able to be straight with one another with that open communication. And at that point, when you're more in charge of yourself, you are more responsible. So we're kind of creating these conditions for being in self more, and being in self more allows us to really be in soul, the soul that we were born with, that these bodies of ours are kind of like these little temples, or these wonderful temples that Earth's housing our soul. So then the other piece of this is like the financial and emotional intelligence. We want to know why you spend money. What does it do for you? How you spend it money, why you spend money. And also, like, do you spend less than what you earn? And, there's some stuff going on here in the States where people are really sort of, they call it, what do they call it? Sort of top heavy, where they're spending way more than what they earn. And then that it sort of reflects sort of like this financial intelligence that just doesn't work really well. Same thing with emotional intelligence. It's like having the knowing of what you're experiencing emotionally and how that impacts you. And we want to have a savings plan. And we want to stick to, whether it's a budget, sort of some guidelines, and there's freedom in having a budget. And then the big pieces is like love your job. So the key word there is love. When you're in love, that means that you're in self. That means that you are also one with the universal life force energy, and money can flow to you. But what inhibits that money from flowing is like our beliefs about our own worthiness, our beliefs about money, our beliefs about, is there enough? And also then just love your life. So, like, again, love is a yearning. When I'm in love with my life, I just love my life in this moment in time. Remember, so I may be stuck in last night of something that happened, or maybe stuck in what's going to happen later, but I want to love my life in this very moment, because that again keeps me in self and in soul, and my yearning is being met. And then be informed about your money. Know what you have. Know how you're gonna how you're using your life force energy to have money come to you, and then letting it go so it can keep that flow moving. So then it's like respect money and respect yourself. So know how much money you have always. These are some of like the key points for there's a book called The Soul of Money. Know how much money you have always. Keep money tidy in your wallet and in your home. Don't keep it all wadded up. It's like, because that, remember, you when you respect money, you're going to keep it tidy in your wallet and in your home. Appreciate paying your bill. So every time I pay a bill, when I sent that money to the tax people, I like put my hand on it, I sort of blessed it, I thanked it for serving me, and then I let it pass on. So, and if you think about paying your bills and how you maybe dread them, and then think about what that does to your life force energy when you're dreading something. So really, like, how can we be more intentional about this place of appreciating and being in self and being in soul? And then again, thanking money when you spend it and receive it. So just little tips about respect money, respect yourself. Some of our money myths is there's not enough. More is better. It's just the way it is. And you'll see this tree of life, this abundant life energy. The tree of life is like our life energy. And you'll notice that there's like, I grew up with these things, money doesn't grow on trees. Well, maybe it does. Maybe it does grow on trees. So again, it's like really questioning some of those little sayings. It's like, is it I made good money doing this program? Well, what's good money versus like, oh, you made bad money? So all of these little beliefs and these little sayings, how they impact our life energy and our ability to receive and also to be generous. That generosity, scarcity, where there's a sense of scarcity, I don't have enough, that it creates a place of deprivation inside of me. So I really want to sort of realign with like, there's more than enough. I don't need to have a huge amount, but I need to have enough to be able to live my life in a way that supports the work I'm here to do on this planet. So then there's this intentional spending is required, energy, attention, and curiosity. So here are some questions, open-ended questions for you to, or statements for you to look at. It's easy for me to spend money on, and it makes me smile just when I even like think about that. It used to be easy for me to spend money on coffee, but no more. I don't do that anymore. Not because I don't like coffee, but because it's like I don't want to spend my life energy on $3 or $4 cup of coffee at Starbucks or wherever. I never spend money, but I would or could on. When it comes to money, I struggle with. I feel angry with my partner, child, friend when they spend money on. When I consider why that makes me angry, I realize I'm getting better, especially when, and if I could change one thing with spending, it would be what? So is a series of statements that you might share in a little bit. Let's see what I have. I think that was the last one. So I have a question for you. Would you rather go back into your trios and answer these questions? Or would you rather go back in and answer these questions? Money is something we trade for our life. What does money, life, energy mean to you? What did you learn about money when you were a child? Maybe you could just take a picture of this one. Take a picture, jot them down, and describe your relationship with money now. And describe your relationship with money, how you would like it to be, and what would need to change in order for you to have that kind of relationship. And then I'll also put this back up so you can take a picture. It's always nice to have choice, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
So you can take a picture of these, write them down, screenshot, and then we'll have you go back into your groups. You'll go into the same groups because we realize that you've established, I'm assuming, established some safety and connection with your people. And so then you can go ahead and share to the degree that you want to share with. You can even say, wow, I'm really uncomfortable with this. I don't know what that's about. I mean, it's up to you. The beauty of these programs is you can share what you want and say you're going to pass the sacred yes and the sacred no.